Ready? Okay, so cerebral hemispheres. Cerebral hemispheres, you have a right and left. So this is the right, this is the left. And so our right cerebral hemisphere, just always remember it's not to your perspective, right? It's to the perspective of the brain. So this is the front, this is the back, right? Because the cerebellum is in the back, brainstem is in the back. So this is always the right. Even if I turn it this way, it's still the right, right? So now this is consistent with your right, but it's not consistent with my right, but it is still the right. I can turn it this way, it's still the right. I could flip it upside down. This is still the right. Right? Again, it's not to your perspective, it's to the brain's perspective. Here, this is still the right. Okay? So we have our right side is for like our spatial thinking, abstract concepts. Our left hemisphere is for, it's considered our language area. So we have Broca's and Wernicke's areas, which are our language centers. And so we have our longitudinal fissure here. And you see that's why okay, so I went, okay, that's not next. Okay, cortex. Cortex is just, cerebral cortex is just the whole thing, right? Then we have our gyri and our sulci. So you see how the black stuff all along it, and you see how the black stuff kind of goes in, and the brown stuff kind of looks like it comes up and around. So our sulci is like the black stuff that goes in, and our gyri is the bumps that come over, right? So it's like hills and valleys. So the hills are the gyri and the valleys are the sulci. And then we have a fissure. Our fissure is just a deeper sulci, right? And so our longitudinal fissure here separates our right hemisphere from our left hemisphere.
Which one?
Our fissures. Our fissures are deeper sulci. Our longitudinal fissure separates the right and the left hemisphere, which is here. This is the longitudinal fissure, right? And then so we just talked about sulci, so now we're going to talk about one specific sulci, which is the central sulcus. How do we find the central sulcus? We find it by looking for the sulcus that will allow us to ride it all the way to the longitudinal fissure, right? And so that's going to be this one right here. If I start with this sulcus, I can ride it all the way up to the longitudinal fissure. Start with this sulcus, I can ride it all the way up to the longitudinal fissure. You see that? You can go all the way. So if I take this one, for example, I stop here. If I take this one, I stop here, right? I get stuck. I'm stuck. This is the one that even if I come this way, right? I go straight and get stuck. This one, I can take it all the way up to the longitudinal fissure, central sulcus. This is super important because it separates our parietal lobe from our frontal lobe, right? And so if I find my central sulcus and I go one gyri back, right, or one gyri posteriorly or towards the cerebellum, this is my post-central gyrus. My post-central gyrus is my somatosensory gyrus, and this is where like pain, temperature, oh she pinched me, it hurt, oh it's really cold in here, I'm really